This is a topic I've kind of been avoiding because this is a cozy place. I want it to remain positive, and also I'm kind of scared of approaching the topic because it is so delicate. However, I realise I'm only able to stay so positive in the face of such negativity because this is a subject I've faced head on myself. Things get better, but not always because the world becomes more accepting or the people around us change. Things get easier because we get better at dealing with what's out there, better at affirming ourselves, and better at staying true to ourselves when others make us doubt. So, I hope to provide you with some information and some sort of method to help you cope with what can be out there. Hello my darlings, and welcome to my little corner of the internet where I talk about the things that I've learned and discovered about myself as a trans woman. Transphobia is defined by Stonewall as the prejudice or negative attitudes, belief, or views about trans people, which can include the fear or dislike of someone based on the fact they are, or perceived to be, trans. It's systematic, and growing up and living in a transphobic society means that we're all capable of it. Unfortunately, that does mean that we're most likely going to encounter it at some point, although one day I believe that we won't. But until that day, we do have to unjustly learn how to manage what happens when transphobia does arrive. Now, transphobic actions come in diverse forms, and evidently this isn't going to be able to help with all of them. However, I hope that this will be able to help with the more general transphobic actions that we are more often victim to. Things like transphobic jokes, transphobic talking points we see online or hear on the news, and microaggressions. As a disclaimer, I'm not going to be using or talking about any specific examples of transphobia in this video. However, if it is still a topic that you're uncomfortable with right now, that's okay. Here's a cat for comfort, and feel free to click away from this video. Now the preamble is over, let's get into this. So, I am openly trans on the internet, and although only a small creator, I have already received my fair share of transphobic comments. Sadly, I knew this would happen, and although it bothers me to know that people with these ideas exist out there in the real world, reading these comments doesn't stop me from feeling joy or make me falter in what I do. Why? Because I've strengthened up my idea of self through self-validation and self-affirmation. Other people's views, whilst harmful and hurtful, don't break through that assertion that I am who I say that I am who I know that I am. It's not a short journey for sure, and it requires a lot of active practice, but it is possible. So, let's have a little bit more of a look at the process. So, you encountered some transphobia. Perhaps that it was a comment a family member made, maybe some misgendering, or perhaps something transphobic you saw online or in the news. Before doing anything, think, how does it make you feel? Angry? Sad? Isolated? Betrayed? Maybe something else. It is important to feel and make room for these emotions, whatever they may be, and remind yourself that you are valid in feeling them. You may start to tell yourself things like, it was just a joke, I shouldn't be upset, or it was a mistake, I shouldn't be angry. And whilst these can inform the action that you take regarding what happened, don't let them invalidate your initial feelings. Reassure and validate yourself if you need to. Being told that would obviously make me feel upset. Of course being misgendered makes me feel betrayed. And even do this out loud if you need to. Just give yourself time to feel, but don't let it sit for too long or let it spiral. Do your best to try and stay focused on that one event. Now you've given yourself time to feel, it's time to remind yourself that whilst what you experienced did cause you to feel all these negative emotions, other people's words and opinions aren't always facts. You know your truth, and what other people say or believe does not have to impact that. A lot of common transphobic comments are designed to make us doubt in that truth, and it's an easy trap to fall into. Do your best to stay firm in the knowledge that you are the person that knows you best, and their words and belief are more of a reflection of who they are. They can be scared of the questions that being presented with the existence of trans people can provoke within themselves. They can be worried that the world isn't quite as simple or straightforward as they thought, or maybe it just touches on some insecurities that are a little too close to home. It says everything about their character and nothing about yours. The idea here is to prevent ourselves from using their words against ourselves. Just because someone says you're invalid doesn't mean you're invalid. You are still you, and you know your truth. Now the hard bit. Do you engage? There is some idea that we need to call out every single transphobic action, but as the victims, we get to decide what action we want to take. You are allowed to disengage and let them go. Your safety and well-being is the most important thing, and not every battle needs to be won, and it's not always your time to fight. Sometimes the best thing we can do for ourselves is to walk away. So, how do I decide if I'm going to engage? First and foremost, I think about how much energy I have. Do I have the energy and the mental fortitude to put myself in that vulnerable position and potentially face more transphobia? Then I think, am I safe? Am I with people that will support me, or am I in an environment where I'm physically safe? Now, a really important one, do I think that confronting them will be productive? Do they seem like they'll be open-minded or receptive to a conversation? If any of the answers to these questions are no, then I won't engage, as the conversation will more than likely end up harmful towards me. And that productivity point is why in 90% of cases I don't respond to or engage with transphobia online. If someone's used any of the typical dog whistles or transphobic talking points, engaging with them is almost never going to be productive. They are there to cause harm, and the only way to avoid giving them what they want is by ignoring them, blocking them, banning them, reporting them, or whatever it is on the platform that prevents them from further engaging with you, and preferably with others. These people are not worth your time or energy. Do your best to move on and remind yourself that their words do not have to affect your truth. It is also important to remember that the internet brings out the worst in people and is not a perfect reflection of real life. Disconnecting entirely from the internet from time to time is important to keeping yourself grounded and recognizing that there is still real and tangible beauty out there in this world. If you do decide to engage with someone that's being transphobic, try to bring the attention on the action itself rather than the person. This can help avoid the other person from becoming too defensive and calls them into a conversation that they hopefully want to be a part of and one that they can learn from. Calling someone out by saying they're transphobic will immediately cause barriers to be put up, especially if they don't see themselves as transphobic. It more serves to shame them, which often isn't very productive. Although we shouldn't have to emotionally handhold someone who's been hurtful to us, it is unfortunately sometimes a necessity. Do your best to explain how what they did made you feel. Use I statements from your experienced truths to help them open their hearts and minds, to empathize with you, to better understand you. It may not always work, and you still have to recognize that if the conversation reaches a point where it's no longer productive, that you should disengage. Even if you didn't reach a satisfying conclusion, hopefully it will give them something more to think about, and it will also help to just humanize us just that little bit more. This is for sure something that could be gone into in more depth, as there are so many different situations that require different approaches to deal with. However, this is a decent basis for dealing with people you know, either friends, family, co-workers or classmates. Regardless of any action you did or didn't take, an important thing to do is self-affirmation. When you feel overwhelmed from everything going on around you, you need to find a way to make your own voice louder. It can seem silly at first, thinking that saying and or writing something down like, I am who I am, or I am man, woman, or MB enough can really help you make yourself believe it one day. But it does. It is important to actively affirm yourself on good days. It forms memories that we can pull on to combat that noise when we have bad ones. Keep a list of affirmations either mentally or preferably physically that you can reach for. I am who I am despite how anyone else may see me. I am capable in believing in myself and knowing what I feel. I will make it through all of this because I belong in this world. I am enough and I am deserving of love and I am allowed to grieve. There are so many things you can affirm yourself with, and these are just for starters, but the important thing is that you actively tell yourself them and you give yourself the space to start to feel them. Let them in, because you're allowed to feel these ways about yourself. It's a healthy and important way to feel about yourself and will help you find joy and confidence in those challenging moments. And so, go out there, find happiness and love in your life. The world around us may not always get better, but find community, affirm yourself in your gender, and things will get easier to manage. You'll be more able to navigate difficult moments and find that trans joy that is out there. You know yourself better than anyone, and you deserve to be confident in that. You deserve happiness, and you deserve kindness, and although sometimes we have to demand that kindness, it doesn't stop us from pressing on and living our lives to the fullest. Give yourself space to grieve and time to feel those negative emotions, but don't let them take over or be turned against you. Hang in there, and things do get better. Congratulations on making it through another video, and I really do hope this one helped. I know that we are going through a particularly tough time at the moment, but I do believe that we stay strong as a community and we will get through this. If you did like the video, feel free to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos like them. If you want to hear more from me, then feel free to follow me on Blue Sky or come join me when I stream on Sundays at 1 PM Eastern Time. However, for now, hang in there and I'll see you next time. Bye.